Hello everybody, so it's Keely again, and welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. If not, welcome. So today we're going to be building a house, but not just any house. We're going to be building so that was my fun little thing for today instead of a joke of the day. Um, Comment down below if you know what song that is from that teeny little clip. I would love to see if you could guess it. But indeed, we are making a brick house, so I thought it was very fitting to play that song. But anyways, this is a detail I've seen in a couple of houses in my neighborhood, but also in the general area. And so I kind of wanted to create a house that had this architectural detail. So you can see that I'm kind of doing this on the front here. I was trying to see if I could put the stairs right there into the arch, but it doesn't let me because it's still classified as a room. So I included just a small porch area in front of it. But I've seen a lot of brick houses around the area with, coupled with siding on part of the house, and then brick like bump outs or front details where there's like an archway that's in front of the door, which in The Sims we can't do an arch of just bricks. Like there's no brick archway. So instead I used this white archway, and I ended up adding more, you'll see later, on the side, so then you can access both sides of the porch area without having to walk, on that one by one tile in front of the bump out. So I'm realizing this now that, oh, wait a minute. No, I think we're good. When I when I was looking at this, I thought it wasn't in 8 times the speed, but I think it is. I think I was just thinking intently. Yeah, yeah, I was just thinking because the video paused for a second, but we're fine. False alarm, false alarm. I thought I left it on 1 times the speed, and this house took me a long time to build. Any house takes me a long time to build, just because I kind of think it over for a while and, mull around with the details for quite some time. But anyways, back to the design. So yeah, so I wanted a couple bump outs, and I wanted those to be in brick. And here I am adding another archway. So that way the Sims, I was kind of going around with this brown at first. And then I found these posts, and I was gonna go with the gray because I know that there's a foundation that matches with the gray, but I ended up kind of liking the white, and I thought, you know what? I've never built like a strictly brick house or a mainly brick and siding house in The Sims. I just don't build that. So I thought today would be a perfect time to. When I bumped the porch and area back like that, I had to change the archway. But yeah, so I wanted to do a little like brick arch and then have the entrance be technically within the room there where the brick is. So that's the idea we're going for. Um, Up to you whether or not you think I executed it well. I think I did okay by the end of it. I was pretty happy with how it turned out. Um, going piece by piece, adding a couple little areas. And for the inside of this house, I wanted to be really kind of not necessarily sad beige, but I wanted it to be modern, um, and normally all my builds are super colorful. I love to throw in big rugs and just lots of splashes of color. So I wanted to go with something a little bit more muted, a little bit more typical, I guess you could say. So that's kind of what I was going for with this house. You'll see that later when we get to the interior, but the first part of this episode is just kind of me figuring out the landscaping and the roofing, of course, um, because that did take a little while to kind of figure out how I was going to have everything set up. Especially as I started to expand the house, that kind of messed up the roof line, and that back part over there where I wanted the chimney just kind of ended up being really awkward, so I wasn't really sure how I was going to work that for quite some time, to be honest. As you can see here, I'm kind of struggling on figuring out how I'm going to make that look right. But anyways, yeah, so we're kind of getting closer now to the outer shell, except for a couple revisions for the most part. So around here is when I decided that I was going to use actual brick instead of the gray. And I was like, you know what? That would be kind of fun. So yeah, I was like, oh, you know what? Forget it. I think these even come in a swatch that matches it. So yeah, so we changed that all over. So I'm going to end up changing the stairs as well because I wanted those to match. So here I am adding the kind of like brick bump outs and chimney and details of that I thought would be brick. So this is like a good sized family home. Those are always super fun to make. Um, but yeah, so here we are kind of modifying the front of the house a little bit more. I was trying to figure out what color I wanted to do in addition to the brick because I didn't want to do the whole thing brick. So I toyed around with a couple of different stone, and then I just ended up going with the white siding because I feel like a white house is really boring. But I thought with the brick it would look nice, so that way it wasn't all white. But yeah, so that's kind of the color scheme we're sticking with for the rest of the build, and that doesn't really change, to be honest, except for a couple little places that I add in some different bumps and different stuff like that. But yeah, I think I ended up extending this. Yeah, I ended up making the house like progressively larger as the video goes, which happens frequently, to be honest, if you watch my building videos. But I had a lot of fun building this house, and it was definitely interesting, definitely a little bit different. But yeah, so I found where was I? I was on what Instagram the other day, and a realtor video came up my recommended, and it was like different houses throughout different decades, and I was like, it'd be really cool to kind of try to build some of those houses in The Sims 4. So I might end up doing that in the future. I thought that would be really fun. Um, but yeah, so there's our little chimney. I couldn't decide how I wanted to look, but I wanted it to be more centered with that roofing piece. That was kind of bothering me, to be honest. I think we come back to that later. Or maybe we just leave it like that. Honestly, it's been a while since I built this house. So here I put in a little porch. I don't normally do little side porches, so I thought it'd be a fun little thing to add. So we're gonna add a little roofing piece. Yeah, so I just kind of copied that and put that back over there to make a little small little sitting area by the side of the house. Kind of give me more excuses to use those columns, essentially. I thought that that should be brick too, because I imagine that. So then I was like, oh, I got to change the stairs too, which I mentioned earlier. Um, so then we went in with this. I think that's from Cats and Dogs. Yeah, one of the foundation things from Cats and Dogs. I thought doing a foundation that was also brick might be a bit much, so I didn't do that. And it took me a little while. I know I wanted to do a white fence, but I wanted to use a white fence I hadn't really used before, so I decided on this fence. It kind of bothered me how it was like sticking out there in that spot, but I couldn't really change it, so I just kind of left it. If you know how to fix that, that's great. Let me know in the comments. But I think it's just because of how I have it lined up with the stair railing that the fencing just kind of looks like that. I tried a couple other options, but I wasn't really thrilled, especially with some of the glass ones. I know I didn't want to do that, but if you notice that a lot of the posts um, kind of went in the middle, or if they were like the glass things were cut in half. It was okay if like the wooden post, like the one I decided on, um, was in the middle between the two posts, but I didn't like how the glass panels were like cut in half from earlier, so I decided not to use that. Just throwing on some roof details. I wanted to use one of these little, I don't even know what these are called, spandrels? I'm not really quite certain what they're called. But the little like under roof details, the spandrel. So I was deciding between those two, and then I fixed that so then I could add the spandrel underneath. So now if we go inside, I finally started deleting all the walls and I could try making my floor plan, and I was left with a very interesting shape. And it honestly wasn't that wide. So I thought, why not extend it, probably? At least that's what I'm thinking right now. So I'm assuming that's what I did next. Yeah. Most likely. See, and then that messed up the whole roof thing. So here we are back trying to fix the roof again. Yeah, just took me a while to fix the roof. I just couldn't get it the way that I wanted it. But, yeah, I ended up bumping it out so there'd be more space and moving the house further up because I wanted to do like a little back area as well. So that's what we're going to work on next. So I added a back deck and I wanted there to be like a trellis on top of it because then I could use more of these columns. So here we are placing some more columns and then getting our stuff for the trellis. And I kind of went too much with the trellis. You'll see in a second. I kind of went crazy with it. So I started with this, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll do these." And then I was like, "Oh, but what if I went the other way?" And then it was like, "No, you can't do that." So I was like, "All right, I'll go up and down." And then I was like, is that enough or do I do more?" So then I think I came back in a couple seconds and fixed that. Putting her little entryway, trying to figure out what door I wanted to use because I hadn't decided on that. So I wanted to match. I wanted to use one of the growing together doors. I was hoping one of them had like a fun, like a yellow door. Um, but I don't think they had exactly what I wanted. So I ended up going with that door. But then I was like, honestly, I don't like that. And then this door came in white, and I was like, oh, that'd be perfect because if I did like a brick bump out, it would stand out really nice. So I was like, oh, perfect. Let's do a white door. Here we are again, back at the back of the house, trying to fix where this flippin' chimney is. You can see I really struggled with that in this episode. As per usual, once I post this video, I will be posting the build, so that will become available to you on the gallery. Feel free to download it. All you have to do is search KeelyCat4 in the hashtags and find my account. Here's where I went crazy with the trellis again. I didn't go any crazier with the trellis. I physically don't think you can, but but yeah. So then I just got the doors to match and made that whole entryway brick because that's kind of the idea I was going for was that it's supposed to be smaller, but if I made it any smaller in The Sims, it just looks kind of weird. So I just left it kind of big as a walkway through to the different parts of the deck. A little bit of deliberation to figure out what I was going to put on the porch and deck areas. I think I ended up deciding on that wood back there, but I could be wrong. No, it looks like I put stone up front. So the windows took me a little while. I haven't used this window in a long time, so I kind of wanted to use it. But the problem was then the doors looked kind of funky, and like none of the two height doors are like only one tile wide. I don't know why. Why is that so hard to ask? So I ended up using that other door. Here I was trying out 30,000 doors. I wanted a nice long, why am I talking about doors? It's windows. I wanted a nice long window because the bottom floor is like the second height, wall height. Um, so I was kind of cycling through all of those because I wanted it to be long, but I didn't want it to be the entire length because I thought that the other height windows were just kind of too small. So they didn't have that for the growing together window. So I just used one of the base game ones that had a light blue that was similar to the growing together windows that I used for the rest of the house. I wanted a little window detail in front of that little archway, but none of them really fit. So that was the only one that fit. It doesn't really match, but that looked kind of silly and that looked better, and that was really the only one that fit. Otherwise, it clipped really weird, and you can't size down windows, so it left me with kind of no options. So, you know. So here we are just adding some growing together windows to the rest of the house. It's kind of really starting to take shape in my mind. Before we head inside and do a lot of the layout, I wanted to figure out where I was going to put the stairs at because I didn't really have a place in mind per se, but I knew I wanted a fireplace right there. And the problem was, obviously if the stairs are right there, it's kind of hard to have a living room right there. So as you can see, I tried very, plethora of orientations to try to make this work. So I ended up going with this here once I finally stopped spinning the camera. Goodness, I wanted all to see from all the angles apparently. So here we go. So putting in little bedrooms and some bathrooms up there. Okay, so if I ever stop spinning the camera, I'll tell you which rooms are which rooms. Okay, so we're down on the first floor again. Just kidding. Okay, so in the back there where you saw those two rooms, those are going to be both bedrooms. And I wanted to put a bedroom on the first floor too, so that space that I just blocked off, that's going to be like a guest room. Because I wanted there to be another bedroom. I didn't want to be a three-bedroom house. I thought the house was big enough to support four bedrooms. So it's a guest room, but you could make it like a teens room or whatever room you wanted it to be honest. It's just kind of small, so I couldn't really make that the master unless I wanted to add like another big bump out for like a master bathroom. So here's the kitchen. I ended up going with this tile from Snowy Escapes, and I thought, you know what, let's go with some of the Snowy Escape appliances. So here we are using some of the Dream Home Decorator cabinets and the Snowy Escape appliances. And I ended up putting in a little island. I tried to match those chairs to the top cabinets. Can't forget our bin, and we've got our thermostat, and I'm surprised I didn't put the little fire detecty thing, the fire alarm out there. I thought about toying with these window boxes, but then it was kind of excessive if I had them on every window, so I think I just left them on that window, or I just got rid of them entirely. Yeah, I think I just left them on that window. So I did a couple little ivy parts, tried not to get too crazy with it, just a couple little spots to kind of spice it up a little bit, put some of those like flowers kind of coming up the side of the house and everything like that. So our mailbox, we got that right out there. I wanted to go with the blue details on the windows. And there's our outdoor trash can, because we can't forget that. So now back inside, I wanted this to go with like the deep and light woods with like a green. So we went with the green from Snowy Escape, that little fluffy rug. So then I tried to find green little details and stuff, like that plant from, what does that get famous, I think. Um, and some of that stuff to kind of, make the space a little bit greener. But as you can see, I went for a very gray, modern, the not matching countertops and cabinets deal, all that kind of jazz. So I love these doors from Dream Home Decorator, so I went with that. Toyed around with the color a little bit. I love that wallpaper. I use it way too much. I use it in the McMansion too. So I was like, no, Keely, you can't use it again. You already used it. So I just went with plain white, and then I put that brick color in the back and a couple of these like light green ideas from I believe that's what high school years growing together, Dream Home Decorator, and Parenthood. So I was really happy with how I brought all those little items together. And with the blue details, you can see I used one of those blue doors to that little teeny porch on the side. So I kept doing that throughout the build. I wanted to see what other green art pieces I could get that would kind of match. I wish you could place things in those bay windows and make it functional. So I put those little plants in there to try to liven it up a little bit, since I knew if I really placed anything else there, it wasn't gonna work. So I just put like a little coffee table that you could put, I don't know, like I think ended up putting a fishbowl on there. I think I changed it later, but I put like a fishbowl or something there. Or you could put like, like a decor item, a clutter item that it's not really gonna matter if your sim can't use it because it's just a clutter item. In the little bay window area, I wanted one of the little activity tables because of the puzzles and the symbols game. You could decorate your house with all your little puzzles that you finished. So I was like, oh, I gotta put that in there. So I thought the bay window was a good spot for that. We're going with that light green and like light beige brown. I even threw in a flower arranging table because why not? I don't really include those in a lot of my builds. And I put this um, treadmill under the staircase. I assume that's functional, but I did not play test this house. So I do apologize if the treadmill does not work. So we couldn't forget our desk, so I threw that in with a couple other, you can see I put the guitar in there, a couple other skill items depending on what your sim likes. I just sized up another one of those green rugs. Here I was looking for just like whatever kind of decor item that was going to match with the idea I was going for. I use these little plant pictures way too much from Tiny Living. Okay, so now I needed a dining space, so I wanted to use like the little circular area there. So I put in a nice big table. I just had to move everything over so your sim could actually walk in there and use the space. So I ended up putting that rug and those little lights, and then I kind of continued those throughout to brighten up the space. So at this point, the first floor is kind of starting to take shape. You know what I mean? Like it's looking like a house. So that little room there is going to be our downstairs bathroom, since the bedroom on the first floor also doesn't have its own bathroom. I wanted this to be a full bathroom, so we've got our shower, our sink. Whew. I am so sleepy. I got up so early this morning. There's a toilet. I didn't say it, but there's a toilet in the bathroom. I didn't forget. But I am so sleepy. I had to get up at like 6 something, and I never get up that early. So I am feeling it. Like my alarm went off, and I got up and I was like, oh, I don't want to get up. It's like 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. And then 5 more minutes was up, and I was like, all right, 5 more minutes. And that just kind of continued. But then I was like, okay, I really need to get up. I really need to leave. So, eventually I got there, but it was a little bit of a process. It was a little bit of a struggle. So I wanted to go with a blue theme in the guest bedroom because I hadn't really used blue yet so far, and I love how some of the stuff from Dream Home Decorator matches really nicely. So I wanted to match that with some of the other items from different kits and packs. With a really plain rug, normally I go with the really busy stuff, and so I tried to dial it down this time. Just kind of having all your little necessities, some green space, somewhere to sleep, a side table, like a dresser, all that kind of stuff, somewhere to sit. I think I added something else too, but I can't quite remember what. Oh, yes, a nice little plant. All right, so at this point, the first floor is basically done, except for that little nook that I wasn't sure what to put in it. So we'll come back to that later. And here's the landing space up at the top of the stairs. And I didn't want to close that in because I wanted the Sims to have some space to walk around and do some stuff. So here is the master bedroom, and I'm realizing now that I I already used this bed. I already used this bed in the master bedroom of the McMansion as well. But I was really happy with it. And I like the other swatches of this bed. I think I was talking about this in the McMansion video too. I really like the other swatches of this bed, but like none of them are wood colors. They're like purple or orange. Like none of them match anything except for this one, which has like the light wood that you can try to match with other stuff. So yeah, I'll make sure I use a different bed next time. I guess that was just really on my mind. So here's our master bathroom. We're going with the blue and brown theme again. Trying to keep it pretty basic, pretty relaxed, nice and modern. I don't know if this is just me, but does anyone else really dislike excessive window coverings? Like sometimes I'll download a house off the gallery and like every single window has like blinds that cover the entire window. And I'm like, well, what's the point of having the window? The Sims can't like functionally open the blinds. I don't know. Like I'd rather just have no window coverings or like very small window coverings like I have that I'm going to put in this bathroom and I put in the bedroom. Like just ones that are kind of at the top or little sheer ones or just none at all. So then I can actually enjoy that natural light. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Comment down below. Do you also dislike the window coverings? I just, I'm over it. I want to be able to see. I want the natural light. I went with a deeper like brown and black for that. And then I had to take a little break. So now we're back and we're finishing up some of the other bedrooms. So I wanted this to be like a teen slash children's room. And it was really big. So I thought it would be way too big to just have one bed here. So I wanted to do a bunk bed. But I wanted to use a swatch I really hadn't used that often. So I was kind of searching through, looking for some that I don't use super often. Putting in some little lights because in one of my houses I didn't have the night light. I'm doing the what are they called? Like the little scenarios. I'm doing the scenario right now where my Sim's parents got abducted by aliens and the teenager has to take care of the child Sim. And we have like no money and we need to make 15,000. I didn't realize you had to do it before the Sims aged up too. So I was kind of like piddling around, and I was like, oh, I'll just have them like do fishing and all this other stuff. I didn't want to do painting because painting's like the easiest way. But then like my child sim was about to age up and we didn't have like any money. And I was like, okay, I need to change to painting or we're not gonna finish this. So where was I going with that? Oh, but yeah, so I couldn't put the nightlight in because I didn't really have enough money. And so every night the child sim comes and wakes up the teen and is like, there's a monster under the bed. Oh my gosh, I need you to spray the monster under the bed. And I'm like, oh, killing me, man. You're killing me. So every night, without fail, we spray that monster. And I wanted the beds to not be stacked on top because I wanted, as you could see, like a little desk or something else to go underneath it to better use the space. So I put the other bed in that kind of corner to kind of separate it out a little bit and make it look a little bit different so everybody kind of has their own space. Just adding in a couple like yellow and blue details to kind of match with the color scheme, and we're pretty much done with that bedroom. I mean, I was pretty happy with how the kids' room turned out. We've got lots of toys. We've got Mr. Bun Bun. We've got some clutter items, a desk, somewhere to sit, two beds, the dollhouse. We even got the little activity table and the violin. Like, we're ready to roll. So now we're kind of getting into the last room, and I made this like a toddler, baby, infant extravaganza bedroom because it was really big, and the other one was more teen or more child geared, and then like the downstairs bedroom could be a teen room. So I made this have everything you could possibly need for all of your toddlers. I imagine that a lot of kids would live here, so maybe they've got like a baby, they've got an infant, maybe a toddler, and all of them can, be hanging out in here. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Update. Hello, it's me again. So I abruptly stopped recording um because I didn't have the last clip of this house saved in my video editing stuff. And so I was like, wow, we're almost done. I better like finish up this video. And then I was like, wait a minute. We didn't even show off the rest of the house. We didn't finish furnishing like the little nook downstairs, and we didn't do the landing upstairs, nor did we do anything outside. I was like, there has to be another clip to this video. I was like, oh, geez, I forgot to upload it in there. So I'm back. Surprise. Here's the rest of the build. um, but yeah, so we're just putting in some little clutter stuff and kind of making it seem kind of homey, things I'd expect them to have, little infant things that didn't fit in the infant room, little decor items, nothing crazy, just kind of finishing out the space, putting some shoes up, and I think I ended up adding some more decorations. I was also looking at this toddler room and I was like, I didn't put any paint on the walls. Why would I finish a house and not put any paint on the walls? Like, this isn't done. Where's the other clip? So, but it would take me way too long if I kept recording. And for some reason, the like base sound recorder you can use that comes with like a Microsoft computer or like an HP computer, I think it would be HP, is like, it's so lame. It's super lame. You know, all you can do is just continue to talk, and then you can like stop it and then it just starts a new clip. It's not even like the voice memos app on your phone where you can like stop it and then like crop it and like trim anything. It's like once you stop it, you can't do anything with the audio. So after I stopped it, I was like, crap, now I can't go back and fix it. So I'm just gonna have to start a new recording, but it would take me way too long to start a new recording, and then it wouldn't fit with the length of the video by the time I actually found the clip. So I was like, all right, whatever. We'll just take a pause. So excuse the pause. Um, that's what happens when you're a very low time YouTuber who just does this for fun and makes videos on occasion and doesn't have the fancy software editing stuff. So, yeah, welcome to my world. But yeah, so now we're just kind of finishing up. I put a little splash pad out back for the little kiddos, and we've got a nice little grilling and gardening area on the back porch with a trellis, and added just a little bit of terrain paint with that bike there and a little bit to the front. And now we're actually getting close to the end of the video, finishing out with some trees and stuff, and little bushes and whatever. So for real this time, the build is almost done. There was no landscaping. Why did I think I was done the video? Whatever. It's one of those days. It's just one of those days. Hopefully you're not having one of those days. If you are, you got this. You can do this. I believe in you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and now for real, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.